she crushes the little man with her ample bosoms.
That's right. That's correct. Can confirm.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Yowdy.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Yowdy?
I said
I
yowdy.
think you said yowdy. It was like yes and a howdy together.
That's right. I'm inventing new words. Yowdy.
Today we have a special guest returning from episode 130 that came out July 2nd, 2018. And if you look at the math, that's exactly 109 weeks ago. Scott Sava is here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Director of Animal Crackers in the movie hit Netflix July 24th that is finally out for everybody to see. The sort of the short history of how we got in contact with Scott was that there was an article in Cartoon Brew that on May 4th of 2018 that Frank from Twitter gave to Jeremy. Jeremy gave us the thing in June of 2018. No, it was in May 2018, and then June we got in contact with Scott. Scott came on the show for the July 2nd episode and told us the story of Animal Crackers, a movie that he had made, had been in the can for 2 years at that point, and could not find distribution because of a variety of weird circumstances that he relayed to us. And ever since then, we've gotten update after update that keeps making it twisty and turny, and it just keeps happening like that. Like we would sit down with Scott, and he would be like, "All right, well, here's something new," and you're like, "Oh, exciting!" And then it's Lucy in the football, right? It's the whole thing. But we were excited to see that it finally came out on Netflix. There are people who listen to this podcast who came on and comment on Facebook and would say, "Hey, I see there's a release date for Animal Crackers. Why didn't you guys talk about that?" And I'm like, well, because I didn't want to say it. We have a direct feed to if that guy told us that it was going to come out, we would say it. and I don't know how. That's a question that I have, by the way, is how like on some national release things, this was showing up on January of 2019. It's coming out and all that. But anyway, welcoming Scott Sava back to the show. How's it been, Scott?
In a nutshell, in one post.
Oh, fine, I guess.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, it has been great. I was, as you were talking about all the twists and turns, I remember us having lunch in downtown Franklin at McCreary's Pub.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling you, John Krasinski is going to come on board as a producer. He's going to help us get this thing finally out there. And then I get a phone call. I walk outside. I come back in. Nope, he's out.
During lunch.
Lunch.
That was so insane. You had told us about that, and it sounded like very promising and everything. Yeah. And then get a phone call, and then sorry guys, that news that got you excited. No longer exciting anymore.
He's starting A Quiet Place too. I guess. Yeah. I guess that's out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been 2 years. 2 years of everything has been an emotional roller coaster. And my wife and I want to get off this ride at some point. It has been crazy. So to go back, I guess. 2 years ago, just as we had met you, my son was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and he was pretty sick, and we were coming to terms with that. At the time, he was on the lowest medicine that just an oral pill. whatever they could give him to make it as easy as possible for him. And he was doing okay with that for that year. But, it got worse over the next, 12 months. And he really needed to get something more. He had to start taking shots in his stomach every 2 weeks. And one of the things was, we had gone by that point, this is now 2019, we had gone 2 years, I think, without a paycheck, dealing with the film stuck for 2 years in Hollywood hell. And one of the bright spots was we were looking for just some help, just as a father. My son's in pain. He needs medicine. The shots cost $3,500 a shot.
Jesus Christ.
And
ridiculous.
we Tennessee had canceled our insurance. They had moved the bar or something like that. And so 200,000 kids were taken off of the Tennessee plan. And we had no way of paying for it. And so we were talking to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. We were talking to the pharmaceutical company that made it. We were talking to, Marsha Blackburn and our representatives, anybody. We were reaching out. And it was, a couple days, which, seems like forever when your son's in pain. Yeah. But it was a couple days of just reaching out to everybody I could. And then one day, Ian McKellen retweets, my plea. And then suddenly I go from, because, I've got maybe 2,000 followers. Mm-hmm. Suddenly I go from 30 people to 10,000 people tweeting and sharing and retweeting and whatever. And I kid you not, within an hour, we got a message from AbbVie, the pharmaceutical company, who said, "We saw the tweet storm. We want to send you a year's supply of shots for him."
Yeah.
Wow.
And I still get teary-eyed when I say it, but that saved his life. I mean, within 3 days he had the medicine, he had the shots. We met at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, where the nurses showed him how to do it. And it was amazing. So, there was a bright spot before I get into more of the dark stuff, but I just kind of wanted to start off with that.
That is a bright spot.
What you're saying is that Ian McKellen really is a superhero then.
He's a wizard.
Is that something that he is going to have to constantly do throughout his life, or is he going to, is there some end to all that after several?
For now, I mean, he's been on it for a year now, and he's gained 30 pounds. He's healthy. He's doing so good. For now, until they come up with a cure. The good news is they feel like they're getting close to a cure. So that's good. But the crazy thing is it's an autoimmune disease, which is just the worst thing you want to have during a pandemic like this.
Yeah.
And so we really, Jeremy, you were mentioning about my quarantine day 100. And so we haven't left the house other than, we'll go for drives, we'll go biking, and, we'll go to Publix. Just one of us, will run to Publix. But yeah, it's been crazy.
Yep.
So when we last left you, the movie was going to the Shanghai Film Festival, and 4 weeks later, it was released in China to 12,000 screens. Now, what was the experience like for that? Do you remember much about that at all?
I do. It was really cool. They wanted me to go out there as the director. As the co-director, and I'm just terrified of. I'm not a good traveler, and so Spain is the farthest I've gone, and I think that was a stretch. But China is like asking me to go to Mars. I was just the thought of it just terrified me. Fortunately, my co-director, Tony Bancroft, directed Mulan, and he loves going to China. And so every time they would ask me to come out, I would say, no, take Tony. He's famous. I'm not. You don't want me. You don't want me.
Yeah.
And so Tony went out, and they had characters. They had a giant Owen as a hamster. They had a Bullet Man. They had Chesterfield the Clown. They had he did the the graduation ceremony for a college. I mean, they, like he did like a Vanity Fair China magazine cover, he's holding a cigar and stuff. I mean, it was this huge thing. I was laughing because I was so thankful that wasn't me. I mean, it was just, if I was there, I would have felt like Derek Zoolander, where they're going, dance monkey, dance, that's how I would have felt. And I was just sitting here, just soaking it all in from the other side of the world going, okay, that's pretty cool. They were marketing the heck out of it. It was just amazing. And to see it, and I was tracking the progress of it in China. And there was a funny thing, and I guess this is par for the course, was at the last minute, it was supposed to be on 12,000 screens, which is unheard of, out here. That's like 3 times the amount of like the best wide release you could get. It's supposed to be on 12,000 screens, and at the last minute, because of the politics that were going on between America and China at the time, which, I mean, I guess they're still going on that way, but they pulled like 8,000 screens.
Oh, wow.
All of the American speaking, except for like maybe 2 or 3 theaters, but it was all in Chinese, which was dubbed. And in even that, the film, we never really had a chance to do the final sound mix, and there was some dialogue that was still missing. And so it had like a guy who wasn't John Krasinski doing the narration, and it was really, really weird. And they edited things out because it's China, and they wanted everybody to be as Chinese looking as possible. So Brock, who's blonde hair, his shots were cut out. Binkley got cut out.
Wow.
As much as possible if they could. It's just, it's a communist country, and they have their way of doing things. But it was just very interesting to see what they cut, what they didn't cut, how things were changed. They got rid of, my wife Donna plays Petunia, the fat lady. And they got rid of her smushing, as they put it, she crushes the little man with her ample bosoms.
That's right. That's correct. Can confirm.
So they found that offensive. And anyway, so it was really just an interesting experience, and I was so thankful to do it from the comfort of my hobbit hole. But yeah, it did well enough. I mean, it was the #1 animated movie for 3 straight weeks. But I think it really could have done a lot more had they had the full thing. But it was an experience.
Yeah, it was an experience.
It was
from then on, though, we kept getting updates from you, and it was like, you kept having this, this battle basically to try to get this thing up. And I think you were pretty close, weren't you, to just throwing the thing on YouTube and just saying,
yeah. I mean, I was, we would call it the nuclear option. And it was just something that we were just, you get so frustrated that you're just like, you know what, I just want to just throw it up on YouTube, and I never was going to actually do it. I mean, it'd be stupid, but
yeah.
You're just like, I just, there's just days where you just want to just say, you know what, fine, I'm done with this. And I mean, I don't want to say days. There were literally 3 years of that. I was at some really low lows, and where you feel like everybody's against you. Between we're on our 3rd distributor. It was, I think, Byron Allen was who we were with at the time, and he just sat on the film for 14 months, just 14 months, just nothing. While we pleaded and begged, and can we just, and we eventually got the film back at the beginning of 2019. I didn't have finances to hire a lawyer. I didn't have any big brother studio or any big name producer who could make any kind of threat. So I was completely powerless for 3 years. And, I just, you want to just burn it all, when that happens. And unfortunately I didn't, but
I can remember.
I had my finger over the send button on YouTube a few times.
Well, I have a few memories of early on with Cinemasins struggles that we have since largely overcome, where I was frustrated enough that I think I said to Chris at one point, I'll burn this motherfucker to the ground before I let somebody take it from me. I mean, in some small way, I can relate. I'm not on any way the scale that you've gone through. You
can relate. But see, you guys remember that Stallone gave me the Rocky talk, too.
Yeah.
Where he looked me in the eyes and he said, he told me his story and how he fought while he was sleeping in his car. And he fought the studio to get to star in Rocky. And then he looks me in the eyes and he said, don't let them take it away from you. So, of course, I'm sitting here going, well, I screwed that up 3 times now because I'm on my 3rd distributor who really screwed me. And, you're just, when you have investors who are demanding their money back and you have a studio offering you tens of millions of dollars so that way you could pay your investors off and then they renege on the deal, it's like you don't know what to do. But the thing is you're trying to do what's best for everybody. But that Rocky Pep Talk just kept haunting me, for 3 years.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
Rocky.
can imagine.
I tried.
That was the thing from the first time we talked to you that really stood out a lot more for some reason. I don't know. I mean, it stood out probably even during that first time, but it was good to be reminded that you had a studio that said, let's do this. And then at the last minute, they're like, nah, we're not going to do this. And then they charged you $100,000 for their services. And then when you didn't pay it, they sued you. And then on top of this, I think they sued you 3 times is what you said. They know they don't have a case, but but it basically keeps the movie from going anywhere else at that point, because every studio sits there and says, oh, you're getting sued for $100,000. Well, you get that off the books, then you can, but that never happens because they keep re-upping and doubling down on the whole thing. Which is, I was sitting there going, this should be illegal, but I'm like, what's the, how in the world do you write a law that's that prevents this kind of thing? It's so arcane and fucked up and everything. Like,
they should call it the Animal Crackers Act.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Something about a frivolous lawsuit that prevents you from going elsewhere with your own business and everything.
I think it's innocent until proven guilty is what it should be.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of 2019, you have your movie, right? Like, it's in your possession.
I did. We got our movie back. It's in my possession solely. And I was having, I guess it was right before you guys and I had lunch, but we thought, okay, we finally got the movie back. See, the thing about this is when your film sits for, this was 2 years at the time. When your film sits between 3 different distributors for 2 years, it's like if you're trying to sell your house and you have 3 different buyers who come in, take it off the market for, say, 6 months. And then they don't have the money to buy it. So you get the rights back, or, so you cancel the deal and you go and you put it back on the market. The gossip is, well, there must be something wrong with the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with you were promised something and then they couldn't fulfill their promise. And so here we are. And that's all anybody's saying is, well, what's wrong with the film? We heard that this film is cursed. We heard that this film is trouble. We heard that this film, and it's like you're in high school. And I just, I'm out here in Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm hearing this from Hollywood. I'm going, I don't know how to make you people smarter. I don't know how you just watch the film. You don't have to listen to the rumors. Just watch the film. If you don't like the film, and no one didn't like the film, they would say, oh, we saw the film. We love it. Think it's great. But what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
So that's what we were dealing with. So, we started talking to other studios, smaller studios that were willing to take a smaller risk. And I think it was at that time that we kind of reached out to John Krasinski to say, look, maybe if John came in and we gave him just the ability to, because he had just done A Quiet Place, it was doing really well, or it had done really well, and maybe he could take a crack at, just as a producer, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a recut of the film, so that way it feels fresh for Hollywood. The new John Krasinski edit, and so that's what we were talking about, and it's you're talking to the agents, and the agents are talking to John, and so it's never like I got on a phone with John or anything, but at the time that you guys and I were having lunch, it was, he said yes. This looks like something he's going to do, and so that's what I'm telling you. And then I get a phone call, and I don't know what transpired in the time in the 1 hour from when we ordered lunch, and then when lunch was done. But we got a phone call, and it was just like, he's going to be tied up with A Quiet Place too. And so I honestly don't know, because I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. But those are the kind of just emotional roller coasters you go through. And I don't know. We're starting to get a little bit more used to it in some way, but it has been crazy.
So what happens from this point where it eventually gets on Netflix?
Oh, there's still so much more.
I know. That's what I'm trying to get you to get. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So I was giving you guys a space if you want to interject, because otherwise I'll just keep talking.
No, you can talk the whole time. That's what we're here for.
Well, so what happened after that? I think that was in what do you think, guys? February or March?
Yeah,
we had lunch.
I mean, it sounds right.
Okay. So last year was the Cannes Film Festival. And I know it's Cannes, France, but I can't not say Cannes. And so it was the Cannes Film Festival. We weren't showing or anything like that, but Michael Favell, who is our foreign sales agent, he was the one who helped us get our initial financing. He was the one who sold several territories, and he was our executive producer. He's just a really good guy. He lives in Australia. And he was at the film festival. And this was coincidentally at the same time that Disney Plus was coming out. So Disney Plus was coming out last year. All of their content was coming out. And I think maybe they might have already been out. And suddenly Netflix was looking for animation. And they approached him, and we were at the top of the list. And so we had this wonderful opportunity, and the amount of money that we were going to get was going to pay the investors off, and it was going to pay me. It was going to pay everybody who was owed money. We owed money to the Screen Actors Guild. We owed money to other people. So it was going to pay everybody off. So it was a wonderful opportunity, and Netflix having so many millions of subscribers, it was just a perfect match made in heaven. So we start negotiating the deal. Everything is going good. Everything is going fine. And just before we sign the paperwork, I get sued by one of my investors in federal court. And so it was just this, are you kidding me? And we got served papers, and they hired some guy who calls himself the Pitbull of Hollywood. He represented Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. And
lovely.
Jesus. Yeah. It's like, you got the biggest, baddest, meanest guy that he could find. And we're broke, again, we're now on year 2 or 3 without any funding. Sorry, I'm trying to track down all of my dates, but we're worried about my son's medicine, the shots and whatnot. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. I had mentioned this earlier. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth so many times. So this is now 2019. My son was going on the shots. So we're dealing with my son needing to get the shots, dealing with the whole thing with Ian McKellen and AbbVie, the pharmaceutical, on top of a lawsuit. And so we're kind of freaking out. We don't have money. And I just told my wife, I said, I'm going to defend myself in federal court. And she's like, you went to art school. And said, yes, but
that's a very wifely answer.
Yeah.
It's Here's not you're crazy. It's you went to art school.
Yeah.
And you didn't get A's even in art school either. You just got like the A's in art school.
Yeah, let's not point out the obvious that you're not a lawyer, but that you didn't have the education of a lawyer at all. You went to some other vocation. It's like even more withering to say that than just to point out you're not a lawyer.
It could have been, but you're bald. But I guess
yeah, right.
But I did have one ace in the hole, and that is I have seen every episode of Law and Order.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is.
The original, the dun dun. I was good to go, and so I went to Kinko's, and I spent $100 for my rebuttal in copying and faxing and everything. And I did this amazing rebuttal, 130-page thing, document. And I responded. And then I found out that I could do it online. I didn't have to fax it all in.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Nice.
But anyway, so then after that, I was for 6 months defending myself against the pit bull of Hollywood. And my wife was coming downstairs going, "Why do you look happy about this?" I'm like, "This is actually pretty fun. This is pretty cool." Like I'm hoping, I know I'm just here home and I'm just sending briefs in and whatever, but it's like, I want to say objection, Your Honor, or something like that, But it was pretty cool because, we got the medicine from Sir Ian, and, we were doing okay. We were holding up okay. But by the time November came around, and Netflix was still on board the whole time, which was great. But by the time November came around, we were going, okay, we only have 6 more months of medicine for him for free, and we need to get some money. We need to do something. And Michael Favell was just, our foreign sales guy was just so cool. He knew what was going on, and he spoke to Netflix, and he came up with a compromise that kind of worked for both the investor and myself, where Netflix gave us some money that we could live on for the next couple of years, and get insurance and everything. And it wasn't good. Stallone would be upset with me because I gave everything up to the investor, but I really just didn't have a choice, and so. I had to do it for my son, and it was really hard to just sign everything away. But I did. And in return, Netflix promptly paid me, and we were able to get insurance, and we're good. We're able to, and a few months later, the pandemic started, and we were able to weather it, which is amazing. So, we're looking at the positives. I lost $2.5 million, which was going to be the kids' college and, probably our retirement. I lost that, I had to give that up for like $150,000, but, it was, it's the sacrifices you make for your kids. It's the immediate need. And just, hopefully if the film does well, I thought, maybe I can get a second shot at this. Maybe next time I'll pay myself first, because, I did what I thought was the right thing making Animal Crackers, which was, I got $150,000 to write it. And that went to pay off all of the family and friends who lent us money while we were on food stamps and, the previous years, because the life of an artist is those ups and downs. And so basically that, and then we lived off of my wife's $45,000 salary. We did that, and whatever other money we could get, we pocketed away, and that got us up to that point. So, but we thought, okay, we'll put all of it was kind of a captain goes down with the ship kind of situation, where you're saying, look, I want the investors to know that I believe in this too. And so I'm going to put all of the money that I should get paid on the back end, and I'll get paid after the investors get paid. And that didn't happen. It all got taken away. So, it's, again, I don't want this to sound negative. It's just one of the downs, but Netflix did come in and they saved us. And that was a wonderful thing. And then it was just a matter of okay, now let's prepare this thing. And we had 6 months to prepare for, this weekend. And that was roller coaster into itself as well. Mm-hmm. And I'll take a break there so I can pause.
One interjection here, though, is you said just as you were about to sign the papers, an investor sued you. Do you get the sense that do investors know that you're about to sign a deal? Is that the reason why that person came out of the woodwork to sue you? They knew that was about to happen, and so they prevented you from signing. What would have happened if you had signed before this investor even came out of the blue?
I could speculate, and my speculation is they wanted all the money. Had I signed it, I would have distributed the money to everybody else who was owed money. But instead, that particular investor kept it all. And so, that's just my speculation for any of the investors' lawyers who are listening. I am not slandering or anything, but that's what I believe possibly was his motivation.
Mm-hmm. But did you think that he knew that you were about to sign?
Oh no, we kept all the investors. Of course, all of the investors knew of everything along the way. They knew about it, and so that's why I'm speculating that was the motivation to sue before we signed.
Yeah, because when I hear the story told in the way of we're about to sign on the dotted line, and then some investor comes in and sues you, it sounds almost like, well, how did he know, or did he know? Is it just a coincidence or whatever? But obviously, he knew that he or she knew the deal was about to get signed.
I was in constant contact, almost on a daily basis, with all of my investors for the last 3 years, easily. It was, like I said, it was really disappointing, especially knowing what we were going through. I was just really disappointed that there was no humanity to it. And I think that's the thing that I took away from this whole experience these last 3 years was just the lack of humanity in people that we had to deal with. Whether it's be the previous distributors, the lawyers that I was dealing with, the investors, they knew before they got involved with me that I was an artist who created something and made it out of passion for my kids. They knew I wasn't able to defend myself. They knew I wasn't able to repay a $5 million loan or a $10 million loan or whatever it might. They knew that, and they knew what my heart was, and they knew that I wasn't in any way trying to hurt anybody in doing so. I was just, as any artist is going to do, is following their passions, following their dreams, and even telling that, pleading, still didn't get. There was, I guess I kept hoping for that Grinch moment, where their heart grew. Was it 3 sizes or 10 sizes? I forget.
I think it was 3.
But, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for someone to say, you know what? I understand. I have kids too. I would do anything for my kids too. And you know what? I know the sacrifices you made, and I know you didn't. I know you're owed this money. And I guess the crazy thing is that my net worth is like, I don't know, $26. And the people I'm dealing with, they have a net worth of $200-300 million. So the amount of money that would change my life that I'm owed, and you can't, knowing, I'm telling you, this will change my life. It's money that is owed to me, and you're taking it away from me and my family. They will not be able to go to college. They will not be able to I won't be able to afford medicine for them. And their response is, too bad. It's not my problem. Mm. And I think that really, that lack of humanity really, really hurt me. And I don't think, I don't know if I can ever get over that. I don't know if I could ever trust people again. And that's been the hardest thing is, anybody who knows me knows that I at least try to be the best person I can. And if I make mistakes, I try to grow from that. I want to learn. I want to grow as a human being. But when I've dealt with so many people who lack that basic ability to have any compassion, to have any empathy. It's scary to me that this is the world that I'm bringing my boys up in. It's just scary to me.
And it's not just Hollywood, right? This is all over the place. You think about Hollywood as being soulless and kind of cutthroat and that kind of thing. But this is all over the place, right?
Dude, I have, again, nowhere near the same scale, but just so people understand how bad, like, the litigious nature of our country is. Like, I had a water leak in my apartment before I got married. I was living alone. Water leak from the apartment above. Ceiling collapses all over my computer, my TV, my couch. And the apartment complex local people were like, oh, you have to deal with corporate to get reimbursed for this. I call corporate. They leave me on hold for an hour. I call corporate again. They leave me on hold for an hour. I hire a lawyer. That lawyer costs $100 an hour. They leave him on hold for an hour, knowing it's wasting me money.
Oh.
And I eventually got like $100 out of it.
Oh.
So there are plenty of companies bigger than you who know you can't afford to go to court, who will use that to their advantage. It happens every day.
Yeah. I just did you guys see the Mr. Rogers documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that moved me.
Oh yeah.
That moved me. And seeing him going up against Congress to go get money for PBS, and the guy that he was talking to was a soulless bureaucrat. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "You're never going to change my mind." And all it took was just some words of kindness and hope, and you see that moment where that guy's heart melts, and so I assumed that if you're a good person and you're trying to do good things and you're honest and you're giving, that I could emulate that and that I could affect. I'm no Mr. Rogers.
You need more cardigans, Scott. You need a cardigan and you need some sneakers that you change in the middle of the hearing, and that would have worked.
Change it to sneakers.
Yes.
I think, like I said, I think that was my biggest disappointment was that, I felt like I was seeing the worst of humanity, and watching it hurt my family made me feel powerless. That was it. But to move on to better things, we did deliver the film. One of the things that was really awkward was I didn't get to deliver the film.
Yeah.
The investor did. And so we didn't get to edit the film. So Tony Bancroft and I, we never got to see the final edit of the film. So it was just really weird. And, and so there were changes made. There were, my family got cut out of the credits for the, my son Brendan plays Owen at 12. My wife plays Petunia, so there's just some weird stuff that, you watch the film because we were so excited to see it when it came out. You watch it and you have to kind of hold your breath and go, it's okay. It's okay. I know this was something that it's okay. My film, I'm still watching a film that I made. And it's that constant battle of, look at the bright side. Don't focus on the negatives. It's like they say, if you get 100 good reviews and one bad review, you're going to focus on the one bad review. And it's just true for everything. And so we just had to it was like a mantra. It's okay for 30 days. Or it's okay. Don't let that stuff bother you. It's okay. It's okay. So as we're we delivered the film, we're staying positive. Our son has insurance. We were working with Sony, who has the music rights. We were working with Macmillan, who has the book rights, and they were so excited. And so that was really fun. And Sony had asked us to they were doing it's like music commentary, like little 2-minute clips where they get the composers to talk about, here's what I was thinking for this scene, and they just talk about the music. And so they said, can you get Bear McCreary to do a little bit of commentary? And I said, can I? Oh my God, that'll be fun. So I said, well, do you mind if I also reach out to Huey Lewis and Michael Bublé and Queen and everybody else? And they're like, sure, no problem. So I reached out to Bear. Bear's like, yeah, not a problem. I reached out to Huey. Huey's like, totally cool. Toad the Wet Sprocket, Howard Jones, all good. Couldn't get through to Michael Bublé. Couldn't get through to Queen. And Fleur East was the last musician who I never met Fleur East or Queen. Michael's just off doing what he's doing, but I got to sit down. The first person I sat down with was Huey Lewis, and we did a Zoom call, and we just sat. And first 15 minutes was my wife and me, because my wife's like, you're not speaking to Huey Lewis without me present. So it was, she got all dolled up, and we got on the Zoom chat, and we chatted, and
she got all dolled up. She's got her denim jacket on, like hairspray.
The first time I ever spoke to Huey, my wife was walking so close to me that she was bumping me in the back. She couldn't hear me, that I had to stop the phone call and say, I'm sorry, Huey. My wife's going to trip me if you don't say hi to her. And so she's, he's like, hi, Donna, I'm Huey. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm speaking to Huey Lewis. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm like, okay, Donna, you're done here. All right. But she has had the biggest crush on him forever. And so we spoke, and then, we kind of said, okay, Donna, we got to go. And we did this talk where we just talked about the good stuff. Now, he's been dealing with Meniere's disease.
Yeah.
His loss of hearing. Now, that would be like me as an artist losing my sight. And I said, how are you handling this? And he said, I've had a good life. I got a lot to be thankful for. And he goes, there's a lot of people that are much worse off than me. He says, I'm happy. I'm okay. And I was just, he's been such an inspiration, and we spent an hour just talking about how we met. And so this is Huey Lewis, and I finally, it's like, oh my God, Huey Lewis is going to give us a song, and he sends us this new song that he had just written called While We're Young. Now, I was thinking we were going to get The Power of Love, like something like that, right? But he sends us this kind of folksy, slow, kind of just groove kind of thing. And I was looking for a dun, dun, dun. And so I actually sent a response saying, Huey, love the song. Not really what we're looking for. Got anything else? Okay? That is the biggest embarrassment of my life, because in about 2 days' time, about 48 hours, my wife and I could not stop humming the song.
Yeah.
We kept over and
That's
over. We're like,
song.
This is such a good song. It's like, I emailed him back. I was like, hold up, forget what I just said. Because we were thinking like an opening song. That's what we were looking for, is like the opening song, and this was going to be this thing. This was before we had the welcome song at the beginning. So this was something like we were going to have like a credits and an opening thing, and it was going to be this Huey Lewis Power of Love type of song. So we found a spot, and we put the Huey song where Talia and Bob fall in love. And it was perfect. But of course, now on video, I have this interview where Huey's joking about how stupid I was for actually saying that.
What's funny, you shared this video, and it seems like he remembers this very vividly. He's like, yeah, you turned me down, by the way.
He's like, and he calls me cute for
Did he think he obviously? I guess he didn't respond in those 2 days while you were getting used to the song. But do you think he kind of knew as an artist that it might take you a couple of days to kind of come around?
I hope so. That would make him seem like more of a wizard to me. I really do. He's like, just wait. He's just doing that.
It's going to happen. It's like Stanza.
Yeah.
And if he'd said anything, he may have continued to revolt against it. If he came back and said, just give it a couple of days, trust me. And
I think it was just, it was so funny. And then, Huey would come out to Nashville. He was on tour. This was before he had me in years. And he would come out and he would say, hey, I'm going to be in town. You want to get together for lunch? And my wife's already in the car waiting. And it's not until Tuesday, dear. But all right. Yeah. We would go. We would hang out. And he would call me. And he's so funny. He's like, he would say, because his number's blocked. So it's like, Scott Sava, this is Huey Lewis. I'm a huge fan of yours. How you doing? He was always so positive, always so fun. And so I got done with the interview, and I had to take a 40-minute conversation and chop it down into maybe 2.5 minutes. And I was looking at it going, that was really fun. And I also went, holy crap, I got to get a microphone because I sound like I'm in a tin can.
Everybody does these days, man. It doesn't matter if you're on like a Parks and Recreation like reunion or whatever. Everybody sounds like shit these days on any sort of thing.
Well, that's why. So my next call was with Howard Jones.
Nice.
And Howard Jones is the sweetest person in the world. He and his wife, Jan, came out and sat in the Hobbit hole and watched the movie with us and drank tea and just enjoyed it. And then this was the day of his concert in Nashville. He then said, I gotta get back to the bus so I can go get ready for the concert. Goes to the concert. He invites me and Donna to the concert, gives us tickets. Me being deathly afraid of just crowds and everything like that, I said, Donna, just invite her friend Kim to go with you. And because I don't know if I could do it. And so they went, and then Donna messages me saying, Howard says he wants you to come backstage after the show and listen to the song. He's already started writing it. I'm like, oh my God. So I packed the kids up because I think, I know they were about 13 at the time. I think I was able to leave them home with a video game. And I drove out there, and he met us, and we got to walk backstage, which was so cool. We got to walk backstage, go onto his tour bus, and he played us a song. Like, here's the beginnings of a song that I've been, and it was his songs, Stay With Me. And it was just amazing. And just like Huey, he would follow up, he would call me, he would check in on me. He would, how are you doing? Cause he saw, cause this was back in 2015, maybe
Wow.
2016. And so he saw everything that was happening. He saw everything that we were going through. And so he was the next call. And because it had been so long, both, Huey and Howard and the guys from Toad the Wet Sprocket, we had history together because they didn't come in, do their job and leave. Mm-hmm. They came in and then they wanted to help out. They offered support. They would check in. They would, when they were in town, we would get together and we would talk. And so we had so much to talk about. And he was so encouraging. And so that's out there. And that was actually, I think that one hasn't gone out yet on Sony. But so we did that one. So again, I had all of this extra footage. And then I did Bear McCreary, and then I did Toad. And again, they were all such wonderful experiences that I said, I've got to take this and I've got to put some of this together. It was so cathartic for me, just like the call with you guys, the interview with you guys 2 years ago. It was so cathartic to just kind of just get it out. And but in this case, we were just talking about only the good stuff. It was just only the positive stuff. And so I sat down after I delivered the 2-minute shorts to Sony. I sat down and I took the longer ones and I cut them and I called them Tales from the Hobbit Hole. And and I have them and I'm going to post them at some point. But I had such a good time doing those 4 interviews that I called Tony Bancroft. I called Dean Laurie, my co-writer. I spoke to James Arnold Taylor, who's Buffalo Bob, and Lydia Taylor, who's Mackenzie. I spoke to Drew Struzan, the poster artist. I'm going to be talking to Greg Hildebrandt, who's another. Everybody who worked on the film, I'm going to be giving them a call, and we're just going to talk about the good stuff. We're going to talk about those 3 really good years where we did some amazing things together, and we made a movie by ourselves, and just all of that fun stuff, and I'm just looking forward to that. It's almost like a video scrapbook of my best summer, kind of thing. And so I've really been just enjoying that and looking forward to doing more of those.
That's good. Mm-hmm. I think you have a exceptionally grounded approach to this whole thing. I think if I had been through what you've been through, I don't think I would still have the energy to be looking for the good stuff. And, I commend your, whatever it is, that character that you possess that I think is very singular, to see the brighter side of things, despite how dark it has been on some of these days.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I think, what's the alternative? And, I don't want those 3 years to define me. I don't want that to. And it just for anybody listening, it doesn't come naturally. It's not in my nature to be like this. I'm willing myself to be like this. I am forcing myself every day. And there's days where I have to take a Xanax. There's days where I have to just play video games all day because I just can't cope with it. I have family, I have friends, I have Huey Lewis and Howard Jones and Toad the Pet Sprocket. I have Arnold Taylor, who's the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, sending me Bible verses. I have people encouraging me. I have Tony Bancroft. I have, and like I said, like I told you earlier, my wife, she's been listening to the podcast, the SinCast podcast to encourage her. And so, you find those people that keep you going. And again, the alternative isn't something I want to look at, so it's a force of will. It's not a natural thing. I would be terrified of someone who naturally is like that. I think something's wrong.
All right, everybody, it's time to talk about BetterHelp.
BetterHelp is good. I'm going to tell you, I know good things. There's good things out there. BetterHelp is a good thing. And it helps people. It's an online counseling service. This thing was ahead of its time, I tell you. They've got an online platform where you can do counseling with thousands of licensed counselors from all over the U.S. They're still recruiting these counselors because you can imagine the demand that we're having these days, especially in these troubled times. Like every commercial will remind you, in these challenging times. BetterHelp is something that you could definitely rely on. What you do is you sign up, you answer a few questions at the beginning, and then you get matched with the counselor. I swear to God, this is not just, okay, we're going to throw you with somebody who's a generalist, someone who can take a bunch of different disorders and basically just kind of like pick and choose and treat one symptom or the other. These are people that are matched with the thing that you want to work on, okay? And that is a rarity in this field. Trust me, I worked in it for a long time. The platform is fantastic. They've got worksheets. They've got a communication like text board. You can schedule your appointments easily. It took me 5 seconds to schedule my next appointment last time. I hung up with my therapist and then immediately went, she's available next Tuesday at whatever, booked it, and that's it. And it's amazing. You don't get that with any other counseling service, especially on the front end. This consolidates everything. You can do chat options. You can do video options. You can do a call. You can do a check. And I want to say one thing about this service. On that main page, people not only are needing consistent therapy and consistent counseling, but they also need crisis counseling. This is not a crisis counseling service, but you look down at the bottom left of your counseling page and they have a link for resources. And this is amazing. They've got domestic violence hotline, suicide prevention hotline, hope line, crisis text, self-harm, Planned Parenthood, LGBT, AIDS crisis. I mean, it's amazing the infrastructure that they've built here. It seems like they've thought of everything. They're worldwide. They're in different countries. I'd encourage anyone that has problems with stress, with anxiety, with, I hate to say this, but ennui, like ennui that goes deeper than your regular, like, I'm bored, because the responsible people who have been at home for nearly 5 months now. There's going to be a certain amount of boredom and ennui and even sadness and depression that creeps in, even for the most, quote, normal of us. This is something that is a great option at BetterHelp.
And we've had a few listeners come back to us and say that they've gotten on this service and they've have thanked us for, sort of bringing this up. They had their own sort of testimonials that have come back to us, and that's it's gratifying to hear that some of you out there are getting the help that you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you feel like you need some sort of counseling, do what's best for you. All right. But this is a great option. I speak from experience. We've worked with a lot of people that have used this and have had similar experiences. If you don't get along with your therapist, meaning if you don't feel like that it's working, if you don't feel like it's productive for you, obviously try to give it a chance. But if it's not, change counselors. This is an option. There's no judgment. There's no problem with it. It's something that they anticipate because you don't get along with everybody all the time. I kind of hit the jackpot with my counselor the first time, and I've felt tremendous growth. But if that's not the case, then go to the other one. So go to betterhelp.com, HELP.com/SinCast. You get 10% off your first month, which is not nothing. If you have issues with money, let them know. Let them know up front. There are options. Don't let that deter you. This is just a great service, people. You've heard us talk about it before. I can't recommend it enough. This came along at the right time, the right place, and we heartily endorse it. BetterHelp.com/SinCast. Do it if you need it now, not later. Now.
Yeah, I was, as we got closer, I was introduced to a wonderful guy named Olivier from Netflix, who's one of their marketing people, and he has been that bright spot for us. He's been somebody who has been encouraging us and helping us to, him and his whole team has been helping us just kind of navigate that. Because we've still been dealing with stuff, and it's nice to have someone who's on that side who could say, "Don't worry about this. This will pass. Don't worry about that. That'll pass." And so that's been really good. I've got some more notes over. I'm trying to see. So
I was going to ask you. You have alluded to there's still some stuff going on. Is there anything that you can talk about as far as stuff going on?
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep it in chronological orders because otherwise it gets confusing to me.
Right.
So what happened is Netflix. One of the things Netflix does is they don't market. They told me at the very beginning, we're a tech company. We're not a Hollywood studio. We're a tech company. And so we are, they look at analytics and I respect them for it. They know their business. They got 200 million subscribers. I'm not going to argue, but our film had such a bad reputation from those 3 years. And we just knew, Donna and I, we just knew we had to we had to do a marketing for it. We had to, at least from a grassroots thing. And so we started just posting. I've been posting for the last 30 days or so on the Instagram page, on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, behind the scenes footage that I recorded from my iPhone, anything that I could do to just, get people interested, knowing that the day was coming, And Tony Bancroft, my co-director, and I, we did some podcasts. We did the Annecy Film Festival, which was a virtual thing. Harry Mock, who I might have mentioned in the first podcast, he was the guy who went and found us the first money. He and I, we've been doing radio shows, drive time radio shows around America.
Nice.
We had a friend of his who would put us on, hey, we're in Cleveland. Hey, we're in Memphis. Hey, we're in, and we would just do live radio shows, and we were just talking about the film and everything we could do. And I said, I'm not going to let a single post anywhere go unanswered. And that's what I've been doing. We got, I got so many things that I wrote down that I'm trying to look at. So basically we got to the point to where we did everything we could. It's last Thursday. It's the day before the movie goes live. We've been telling every family member, everybody we know, and we're just kind of getting ready to do a big push, for Friday morning. And I get this email from a guy from Variety Magazine. And he says, do you want to comment on this lawsuit? And I said, lawsuit? What lawsuit? No comment. No. A couple hours later, there's an article about one of the and this is all public information, but one of the distributors was never paid by the investor who took over the film, and was trying to get the film shut down. The day, we're going to stop the film from coming out, and this is 3 hours from release.
Oh my God!
And they were going to a judge for a temporary restraining order, and I kind of went, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, said, you were half expecting it.
Yeah, I honestly, I was like, this is the part where you find out that Bruce Willis was a ghost the whole time.
What? Wait a minute. I haven't seen Die Hard yet.
And I think I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, can you believe this? And I just. And all I could do is I sent it to Netflix. I sent it to Olivia at Netflix, and I go, what do we do? And he was just so calm. He's like, nothing. He goes, just get some rest. Tomorrow's a big day. Your movie's coming out. I'm like, but these guys are going to go judge it. He says the meeting with the judge is at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time the next day. So it's definitely coming out. It might go away 8.5 hours later.
Oh my God.
It's definitely coming out. So I woke up in the morning, and Donna woke up in the morning at 6 a.m. and we were just flooded with just, people saying, oh my God, there was friends who stayed up till 2 in the morning, Franklin time, Tennessee time to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we responded to every text message, email, Facebook Messenger, whatever it was. But we were nervous. We were going, just knowing everything we had been through. We were just, okay, we were expecting it. And then, I don't know, about around 12 o'clock noon, our time, I got a message from Olivia saying, the judge didn't grant the restraining order. You guys are good to go.
Wow.
Okay. But if any of your listeners want to go and look up the Variety article, it was this reporter was amazing. They dug up all of those documents I told you that I sent to defend myself during my Law and Order days. They dug up because they're all public.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the thing about a federal lawsuit was it's public. and you can look them up. And I think you got to pay like $25 to have like a monthly account or something like that. But whatever it is, they must have paid for it, and they downloaded all of my emails, all of my rebuttals and conversations where I showed what was going on, and they dug up everything. And it was like an open wound. I felt naked. It was really hard to read. It was painful. It was like reliving everything, and to read that 3 hours before my movie comes out was really hard. Yeah. It was really hard. It was because I had spent the last 30 days trying to forget about it and just trying to focus on the positive. And then that just gets thrown in my face again. And that was really tough. And I just, I've moved past it now, but it was, that was, nothing has been, because people are like, aren't you excited? Aren't you like bouncing off the wall? Your movie's out. And I'm saying, I'm not that bipolar. I can't go from that low to that high. I can't. Everything is tempered by the weight I still have around my neck, all of the lawsuits and all of that stuff. And I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to look at this, but I'm not jumping up and down. I'm not elated. I don't have that light of a spirit right now. I'm still too heavy. But I am thankful. I'm so thankful that the film finally came out, and that's been something my wife and I have been doing almost every hour. Is we just need to be thankful. We need to be. We made it. We made it. It's not how we expected it to be, and it was an enormously difficult road. And I don't know if it's over. I don't know if I'm going to be in court. I don't know if I'm going to get sued for what I'm saying here on this call. I honestly don't know. But I did find out that pretty much anybody could sue anybody for anything if they have enough money. And if you don't have money, you're going to lose. And that's what the court. When I would call the court and I would say, what they're saying is lies. I'm sorry, Mr. Sava, we're not allowed to talk to you. Yeah, but they're just, I need to be able to defend myself. Well, then you're going to need to get a lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. I don't have the money for a lawyer. And basically the response I got was, that's why the person with the most money wins. It's not about right or wrong. It's the person with the most money wins. And I just, it's tough. It's tough to know that you exist in a world like that, where it's not enough to be right.
Right.
And I that's how I was always brought up. I was always brought up, be a good person and be, and be truthful and be honest and do the right thing. And that just didn't happen.
You're like, have you ever seen The Insider? Al Pacino?
No,
movie
sorry.
about the tobacco industry. It's about 60 minutes trying to make it's a real thing. 60 minutes interviews a whistleblower from Brown and Williamson talking about how they put a certain drug inside the cigarettes to make people addicted to cigarettes and everything. And so he interviews this guy. And then CBS, due to threat of lawsuits and everything like that, is unable to show the entire interview, and they have to cut it. They have to like put a silhouette over his face, and they have to do all sorts of stuff. And then Lowell Bergman is who Al Pacino's playing. He tries to get Mike Wallace, who did the interview, to help him out. Like, you got to be the guy that sort of takes charge of this. You're the one that everybody listens to. And Mike Wallace even doesn't do enough. But by the end of it, they finally get to show the full interview. And after all this work, and after he's expended every single last thing, and somebody comes up to him and he's like, so, hey man, it's finally up. It's up on screen. And like, aren't you excited about that? And he's like, what? I don't know, man. What happens next time when there's a big story? Do I tell a source that, we'll take care of you? Maybe, I can't give anybody my word anymore. Yeah. And so like, while it might be a relief to finally get that thing, to be seen and everything, he is completely spent by this point. Yeah. He's lost all of his everything that I thought this business was is not what I thought it was, and now I'm ready to move on. And I can totally understand why, now that it's finally out, you're spent at this point.
Yeah, it's been, the last 4 days, 5 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The last 5 days have been up at 6 a.m. My wife and I, we get up and I have gone, I wrote it down. I've gone to Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. I've been Googling refreshing every 10 minutes, any new news, any new articles, any new reviews. I am thanking the bad reviewers as well as the good reviewers. I'm trying to respond to everybody. So I go on to Twitter and I just do a search for the word animal crackers. And anybody who's talking about animal crackers, I talk to them. And I've been talking to everybody.
Wow.
And that is I must have spoken to about 2,000-3,000 people a day.
Wow.
And I am just, there's no YouTube channel, there's no nothing that I haven't responded to that I know of. And so I have been doing my best. My wife, she's been going on to, she's been going on to Nextdoor, Grown and Flown, Live Well, Mommy Forums, Insta Stories. So we have been just,
Tinder, Grindr, like everything.
Right, totally.
Bumble.
God,
this is something that I have noticed about you, by the way, Scott, is that you are a serial responder. When I went back to look at that article from Cartoon Brew, and, the first comment is from Tony Bancroft, who's like, this is why I've gotten business with this guy and everything. And then you respond back to him, and then somebody else says something, and you're like responding to everything. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then when we did our podcast a couple of years ago and people were commenting, you were commenting along with them the entire time and everything. I think it's effective when you're trying to get something going, to be that person. You put a person in front of the art. Yeah. People start to, they connect to it a little bit different way. It's easy to be like, to be this guy who watches it and they're like, oh, this was trash or whatever. But like, once somebody comes on there and says, hey man, totally respect your opinion, but blah, 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 then they'll back off a little bit and they say, oh yeah, you know what?
Makes it real.
There is a human being behind this.
It makes it real to them.
I want people to know that there's a human being behind this, that there is someone who wrote a story for his kids. I want them to know that I have feelings, and that I genuinely want people to enjoy the movie, but I respect if you don't. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I want to be out there. The way I look at it is I'm campaigning like a politician would, but I'm doing it, on social media. I'm going door to door and I'm saying, hi, my name is Scott Christian Sava and I made a movie and I hope you like it. And it's been, from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. for the last 5 days. And I don't know how, but somehow we're at number 2 on Netflix.
That's what I wanted to brag on you a little bit. This is not normal. This is not normal for a movie to do this. It's not just that you got distribution and that you went through this ordeal and finally, it's out. Some people will watch it. No, fuck that. No, you are number 5 as of this recording overall on Netflix.
Including TV shows.
And number 2 in movies. I don't know if you're aware of this. There are a lot of movies on Netflix. There's a lot of fucking movies on Netflix.
No,
I'm using
totally new information.
I'm using profanity for this wonderful children's movie. But listen, there's a lot of movies on Netflix, and only one of them is number 2 right now. And
what was number 1?
Kissing Jessica Stein or something like that.
What? No,
it's the Kissing Booth 2.
Kissing Booth.
What the hell is that?
No.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. So
it's a Joey King tween romance.
It is.
With the girls.
I understand. Look, it's based on a young woman's novel, and I applaud the fact that they've already even picked up Kissing Booth 3.
They've already filmed it.
They've already filmed it. So
yeah.
The one thing that was really hard for my wife and I to get past was Netflix was promoting the Kissing Booth too, and rightfully so. But we never even got our film on their YouTube channel. We never even got a shout out on Twitter. We never got anything. So everything you are seeing is my wife and I. You got Tony Bancroft. You got and I will give full credit to Olivier and his team who have helped us out. But from a corporate point of view, I don't think they thought our film was going to do anything. Again, I mean, I don't think it was anything nefarious on Netflix's part so much as I don't think they gave us a second thought. And so, we had to let people know this has been a complete grassroots. You guys helped us out. All of our friends and family have been helping us get the word out, but I still have yet to get a retweet or anything, not even a like from all the stuff I'm posting. I haven't gotten it from John Krasinski. I haven't gotten it from Danny DeVito or Sylvester Stallone. Ian McKellen again. Ian McKellen keeps coming back, sharing stuff, retweeting stuff, helping us out. Patrick Warburton's been amazing. James Arnold Taylor, Tara Strong. Even Gilbert Gottfried and Harvey Fierstein are jumping in from time to time.
Yeah.
But, we are doing what we can to really, it's just that feeling of my wife and I. It's like, it's just us. It's just us. That's how it was when we first made the movie. That's how it was when we had to defend our movie. There was no one there. No one was helping us. And so it was just us. And so, we keep coming back to, it's just you and me. We have to do this ourselves. We have to. And so, thank God we have a wonderful family. We have wonderful friends. We have colleagues that have joined in to help that. But yeah, I mean, seeing a Kissing Booth 2, number one, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of an unfair advantage because we didn't have that same opportunity. They had 10 million YouTube views on the Netflix channel, before that even happened. We were working with a handicap. So I think for us, that just makes us feel even a little better that we've been able to stick around at number 2. We didn't even think we'd be in the top 10, honestly.
Oh, it's amazing. You're on the first line of the Netflix originals on both the movie page and the regular page. And now it's everywhere. It was funny the first day I sat the family down and we watched it. I now have a 12-year-old boy. The first time we watched it, he was 9, just about to turn 10. And my 2-year-old nephew, they both loved it. Now he has moved into action movies. My boy, obviously. And he can't get enough of Fast and Furious and Star Wars and all that stuff. And I was like, we're going to sit down and watch Mr. Scott's movie. And he was like, I kind of remember that. And so we watched it. And I asked him afterwards, I was like, did you like that? It didn't really have, the cars going to space and stuff like that. And he was like, I liked it. And I was like, yes. So I think Netflix both may have underestimated the timing of this, obviously. The fact that there is precious little content, especially with an elevated cast, with an elevated art design, that kind of thing, for that demographic, the 7 to 10-year-old, the 5 to 12-year-old, if you want to stretch a little bit, and plus the adults enjoying it too, because among other things, they love the actors and that kind of thing. So I think it came out perfectly, even though everything else about it was imperfect. The movie is great.
We were one judge's ruling away from it going away the next morning. It's so scary. And the thing I keep hearing, and this is I think what's really cool, is the parents have been messaging me on Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, saying their kids have watched it 3, 4, 5, 6 times now. And I think to the point to where they're getting annoyed with their kids.
That's for any kids movie.
Yeah. But I will say this. I was cheating a little bit because my dad has woken up every morning. Yesterday was his 91st birthday. He has woken up every morning and turned it on and watched it.
Nice.
So that might have been cheating, and I apologize to Netflix. I'll pay you guys back.
No, that's all right. Okay, so the demographic has now reached from 5 to 91.
Yep, that's true. That's correct. Now that Netflix has been more open about how many times movies have been watched and everything, do you have any kind of information about that? Do you know how many streams?
This goes back to my wife and I, our distrust. It's been now 5 days. The movie's been number 2. I haven't heard from Netflix. Mm-hmm. Other than Olivia, who's, I haven't heard from anybody at Netflix. People are asking me, hey, are you going to do a sequel? I've already got a sequel written. I've already got it ready. Oh, mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know because of everything that happened, we're worried that maybe that lawsuit, maybe the investor, maybe something is going to keep us from knowing. Maybe somebody's upset. Maybe something went wrong. We don't know. We're in the dark. So all I could do is speculate. But we're worried. We're concerned that we'll never know how well it did. Just all we'll have is those public number 2, whatever, and eventually it'll go off the top 10 list, and we'll just never know. But I would love to hear. That would make me so happy to hear it was,
that is
the best animated opening ever that they've ever, or something like that.
It has to be something like that. But that's fascinating because we get frustrated as just normal average Joes, not knowing. You can compare box office figures, and we have many times. But we get frustrated at not knowing really, how many streams. We do know how many streams, according to Netflix, Old Guard has, or something like that. Yeah. But that's got to be frustrating. You're the creator. You're the person that should be informed of this stuff, and even you are kind of kept in the dark, at least to this point. That's bizarre.
I've heard this before, though. This is not just with Scott. I've heard this before that other directors have been asked. I think David Ayer about Bright was asked when that first launched, how's it doing? And he said, I don't know. They don't tell me anything. I may be picking the wrong but there was a director and a Netflix original that I saw that interaction about. I think that's a Netflix thing. They don't give out information to very many people.
They last couple months ago, they posted about the Willoughbys. And they said the Willoughbys did 30 million views in the first month. And they said that, and then they ranked them. And I think Extraction was their number 1 at about 90 million views in the first month. But they said that Klaus, according to the 2 original films that they had, which was Klaus and the Willoughbys, Klaus did 40 million in the first month, and the Willoughbys did 30 million in the first month. So I know that they are releasing some information now, which is fantastic because, if you look at 30 million times, say, $10 a pop for a movie ticket, that's $300 million. Yeah. If you kind of equate that to a movie ticket. And so I would love to hear that. I just said, just because of everything we've been through, and this is nothing on Netflix. I'm just saying because of everything we've been through, we just don't know. And we just don't know what to expect. We don't know if there's something, legally going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about. And so I would love to, trust me, I would love to be in the know. But right now, all we're doing right now is we're going to try to keep it in the top 10 for as long as possible. And we're just going to keep thanking everybody that says anything nice about it. People are sending, they're posting on Instagram or whatever. Here's my kid watching it for the 5th time. People send us pictures of their dog. My dog likes your film. It's wonderful, and so I've really, I think we're trying to soak that in because again, it's never this perfect happy ending moment. It isn't. It's this mixed bag of you get a letter from a lawyer on the same day that you get this great review. You get this. So you get those ups and downs, and you just have to just focus on those positives. Know that the negatives are always going to be there, and just look at your accomplishments. We have to keep telling ourselves we made a movie.
Mm-hmm.
We made a movie. I mean, how many people get to say they made a movie? And so even if it's no one likes it or what, we still did something. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just acknowledge your accomplishments. It's my first movie. I was hoping I could make more, so that way I can improve. No one's the best the first time they do something. So, I think that's been another thing I've really loved is people. Well, unsurprisingly, people are very vocal about things they don't like about your movie. And
what?
So, but I found out that the term gypsy is a racial slur for Romanians. I didn't know that. For me, it was always just a romantic, with gypsy magic. It's a romantic thing. But I had several people on Twitter let me know. Originally, the original tweet was, "Oh my God, Netflix! I can't believe you'd allow racial slurs like gypsy on your thing. I'm never going to watch this movie. I'm never going to." And so I went on and I would say, "Look, I'm the writer. I take full responsibility. I had no idea. Please tell me." And we had great conversations about it. They'd explain why. They would send me links and this and that. And I would say, "This is amazing. How else am I supposed to grow as a human being unless someone tells me, rather than like a cancel culture where you just instantly, okay, you did this, you're done. Explain it to me. Tell me what I did wrong. Let me become a better person from it." And so that was really amazing. I have people who want to see more representation, people, whatever it might be. And I'll take that. I'm writing notes. I'm keeping that information. And if I get to make another movie, I'm going to utilize that. So that's the whole point of doing something. It doesn't, your first thing, your second thing, your 10th thing doesn't have to be a success, but the lessons you learn in doing those hopefully will make you a better person and a better writer, director, or whatever you're doing.
I've got a 2-part question now.
I'll take the third part first. Oh wait,
yes,
it's
take the third part first. Part D. So I need to know what, now that the reviews are out, what is your favorite review that you have seen from whatever media it might be? And not necessarily your most hated review, but what point do you see hammered in negative reviews that you think is unfair?
All right. So I have 2 favorite reviews. One is positive, one's negative.
Okay.
My favorite review, I think so far, has been the Mama's Geeky review, because her daughters watched it so many times, and just her enthusiasm and her daughter's enthusiasm. And then they did an interview after, and now they're going to be reviewing the book. And I loved that. I wish more reviewers who are reviewing animated movies had kids.
Yeah.
Because I think, if you know who the audience is, you're not going to be expecting Citizen Kane,
Right.
And I think if you understand how kids work, and I think that's just so much better. And Tessa from Mama's Geeky was just, she got it. She understood it. She was just such a wonderful person. I loved speaking to her. Now, the New York Times review was so funny. It was so bad. I mean, I read it in the voice of the critic from Ratatouille, and you have to. It is. I had to look up like 12 words that he was using. It was so good. I want to print it out and frame it. It was so good. So that was really fun. I don't take the negative reviews badly. Again, it's people are allowed to have opinions. What I didn't like was those negative reviews have lowered our Rotten Tomatoes scores. Now we're at I think right now 52% for critic reviews, but from the fans we're at 92%.
Yeah, that's a huge disparity,
and that's what matters.
Yeah. But the thing is that the Willoughbys is a darker movie. Klaus is a gorgeously animated 2D movie. You know, we're not going to do a I lost my body. You know, that's not our type of storytelling. But that's the kind of stuff that wins awards. I want to be the Hanna-Barbera, not the Walt Disney. I want to be the guy who does the Flintstones and the Jetsons and you know, that's what I want to do. I want to be the one because I've got so many ideas. I just want to I want to make kids happy. I want to tell fun stories. I'm not looking to make art in that way. And I think I wish there was a category for critics who are, you know, hey, we're going to review this for what parents are going to think and what, that's what I like. And whenever I see reviews like that, I really love it. And I'm sorry, Chris, what was the second part of the question?
Do you see something that's particularly hammered in the negative reviews or even in the positive reviews that you think is unfair or needs explanation?
I think we weren't able to edit the film. And this isn't an excuse. The film that you were watching is the film I made and I was happy with. Tony Bancroft, Dean Lorey, Jamie Thomason, so many people on the team were like, Scott, you're adding way too much backstory. Like, yeah, but it's important that you understand this relationship, and I really, and this character is so cool, and I want to add this, and so the first 20 minutes is a bit of a mess. After sitting on it for 3 years, I wanted to finally go, okay, we'll cut some of this stuff out. And we had edited it down by about 15 minutes, and it was a lot more streamlined. Unfortunately, I didn't have control over what was delivered. And so the most common thing is the beginning's a bit long, the beginning's a bit convoluted. And I take full responsibility because you're basically looking at a director's cut of the film. But you really want to get into it with the kids. You want to get right to it. And really, when John and Emily, come on board, when Owen turns into a hamster in the minivan, that's when the movie really, from then on, I think it just cruises. And I really think we stick the landing. No one's had a problem with the landing. But yeah, that opening, if I had a chance to, I would do it. But maybe not. Now that enough people have seen it, and I think when you watch it a few times, you kind of get into it. Now, the biggest question that people have asked was, "Where's Owen's dad?" And that's the biggest question. And the honest answer is, the story had changed. We had rewritten it 30 times. Originally, it was just a guy who gets a letter saying, you've inherited a circus. So if you didn't ask who his dad was, it was just a story about a guy who inherits a circus. But then I started adding all this backstory, and they have the same last name, and Buffalo Bob has the same hair color so it starts to get confusing. But it's just one of those things where you don't notice that hindsight after 30 revisions of a script that, this is confusing. You don't know that until 200 million people are watching it. And then you go, okay, this is a common thing. So I've been just between you and me and whoever's listening, I've been responding with, there's a third brother that's Owen's dad. I'm saving that for the sequel.
Nice.
So,
nice.
I planned it the whole time.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
I did want to point out
in the sequel.
I don't know if this will make anyone happy but me. It did make me happy. But The Kissing Booth 2 is a 26 on Rotten Tomatoes with the critics and a 44 with the audience. So you are trouncing that movie with the critics and the audience. You probably don't want me to say that because you're too nice a guy.
Again, I'm wondering if critics and fans, your viewers, don't like it, why is it still at number one after 5 days?
No kidding.
Yeah. Because I believe that 11-year-olds often struggle to comprehend quality. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. And so I believe there are millions of preteen girls that want to fall in love when they get to high school that are watching this on repeat. They don't care if it's good because Jacob Elordi is hot.
Yeah, it's like that the Christmas Prince or whatever that that somehow shot to the top of the thing over the holidays, and even Netflix was like, "Why the fuck are you guys watching this?"
They have a new category on Netflix. The "Why the fuck are you watching this?"
Losers. Hey, I've got a question for you, Scott. Did you watch it day one? Did you turn it on day one? Did you sit down?
We sat down and we the funny thing is that I did a Q&A for a group of students at about 7:00 my time. And so, we had dinner. I did the Q&A, which took about an hour. And then around 8:00, we sat down and we watched the movie together. And so it was, we didn't get to sit down because we like to watch movies while we eat dinner and we didn't get to do that. So it was kind of weird, but it was really fun to watch it. And, we teared up so many times, just because there's so many memories.
I can imagine. And
so many moments. And, my son Brendan plays young Owen and Donna plays Petunia. And, there's Greg Hildebrandt, who's a wonderful, amazing artist. His painting is in this one thing. Joey's Pizza from, you guys know Joey's Pizza because we talked about that. Joey's Pizza's in there. There's so many. We could hear family and friends who were in the crowd, and just it was kind of like a family reunion. It's kind of like just looking through an old scrapbook, and so once we got past, like I said, just some of the reservations of, okay, this isn't the film that we were going to deliver, and all of that stuff. We just sat and we just enjoyed it, and it was good. It was a really, really good, hour and a half.
I can imagine that because you were most, if not all, of those vocal performances. You're on the other side of the recording booth, right? And you're monitoring. I think you said that Krasinski and Blunt were in the same room together, right? And kind of interacting with each other, which you could totally hear. Now that you told that story, I'd already seen it twice before we talked the first time. This is the third time. And now that you told me that, I can totally picture that as they're in the car and they're interacting and all that stuff.
I've been posting if you go to the Animal Crackers Instagram page, I've been posting some of and we're seeing this for the first time because they're just everything they do was just completely ad-libbing. But there was so much stuff that we had to throw away.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Emily's like, we're going to do it. We're going to do a circus, and John's saying, we don't know anything about a circus. And she says, but you've always loved a circus. And he goes, I love baseball, but you don't see me playing for the Yankees, and it was, we didn't use it, but there's so many, we're there for 4 hours at a time, multiple times. And every single time there was something new. They came up with I like to eat apples and banana. They came up with so many gags. And we tried to keep as much of their laughter in it. And you could just see it, when he's like, your dad has me eating dog biscuits. And you could just, and so we're animating Emily laughing because she's laughing. He's like, stop and think about that. And we'll give dog biscuits for a job, and it's just the delivery was making her laugh. And then there was and I put it up on the Instagram too, but it was, when she originally goes, so what's in the box? He goes, what's in the box?
Oh man.
It was just all of these funny little things. But yeah, you can hear the joy in them while they're doing this. You can hear it in their voice. And I think that was magical. Danny DeVito was so, I've never made a movie before. So I expected I was going to get, what was his name in Taxi? Louis De Palma.
Yeah, that's it.
I thought I was going to get Louis De Palma. I thought I was going to get the guy from Hoffa. I thought I was going to get, the brother from Twins. I thought I was going to get that. And I'm going, but this clown is supposed to be joy. He's supposed to be laughter. He's supposed to be. And so I was nervous, but then Danny came in and he was just, he was, hey, how you doing? I really love the script. All right, let me get to work. It was just all business. But then he, we start recording, and he was just having so much fun. He kept making fart noises. And so we that became Chesterfield's thing. There was and then he would do it physically. So he's, pumping his arms, and he's making, pretend fart noises, and so he was just so physical about it. And we were recording everything. And so we got that sent to the studio in Spain. And so, so much of those performances were because of the joy that the actors brought to it. And that again, like, that was magical. I had nothing to do with it.
Well, I can imagine you seeing it, you actually watching the movie, you're probably visualizing the how they're interacting, especially with Stallone and stuff like that. I got to tell you, if you're looking for an Ian McKellen performance where he goes for it, I forgot how much that guy like puts his cojones on the table and just nails it. I mean, there's no line that he's taking like a break, like he's taking a play off or anything like that. He's giving it gusto.
He didn't bat an eye when I put in front of him, "Now fly, you fool." And he read it as if I was Peter Jackson, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" He has no ego about any of that. He went for it 120%. And come on. Do you know how daunting it is to have Sir Ian McKellen reading lines that you wrote? If you don't remember, I went to art school, okay? I have no business writing something that's going to come from the same lips as the guy who goes on stage and recites Hamlet, all right? There's no comparison. I got Ian McKellen to say, "He's got my butt. He's a bottom biter." And
yeah,
he did it with gusto.
Yeah.
I'm still in shock.
That's great. If you ever want to know how much Ian McKellen, I really fell in love with Ian McKellen. Not just through the Lord of the Rings movies, but when he has this episode of Extras, the Ricky Gervais show that came out.
Oh my God.
And his appearance on that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, because he's explaining what acting is to Ricky Gervais, and he's like, yes, when I'm on screen, yes, you'll see me. I'll be like, "Oh, you shall not pass," and everything, and he's like, but here, you and I'm not actually Gandalf.
I'm not actually.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just acting is all I'm doing.
My favorite at the end of that speech is when he wipes that single tear from his eye.
Yeah. The ones with I tell you another thing that's good, that it's on Netflix now and everything, is that their algorithm will be able to pick up a lot of, because you have so many people in this movie, people who watch The Office will probably end up finding Animal Crackers. There's so many just well-known voices, Danny DeVito, Patrick Warburton, and Gilbert Gottfried, and all these people. Like there's so much there that just about anything you watch, I can imagine, that being suggested somewhere at some point.
What's weird is there is people. Reviewers are calling it a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I wasn't setting out. It's just I really like musical montages. You know, I am. Do you guys remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer's asking Lisa to produce a video, and he keeps saying to cut to Star Wipe. Use a Star Wipe.
Yeah.
Musical montages are my Star Wipe.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, that the Queen montage, the Don't Stop Me Now, is visually and aurally just fantastic. Right. Like it just that's the splash page of the movie, right? Like that's the spot where everybody's having the most fun. The characters are having the most fun. You're probably having the most fun. It's fucking Queen, for God's sakes. and it just marries together perfectly. I was smiling the entire time.
It was so funny. And it's funny because I on Twitter, people were like, really? We're going to use this Queen song again? It was in this movie. And I'm like, but it was in my movie 6 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
And people keep saying, well, Bullet Man's like, I am Groot. We did this before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part.
What are you supposed to do? Go back and change it where Stallone like suddenly starts to have a way more dialogue
come back
now.
in, Sly. We need you to do some ADR.
We'll animate this on the fly, by the way, too.
Just draw it as he's going on.
Yeah, exactly. That's another Simpsons thing where Homer is like, "Do we do this live?" It's like, "No, Homer. The animation is rarely ever done live. It's such a huge bearing on the animators, you know." Okay, so it's finally out. It's on Netflix. Everybody needs to go ahead and watch it. And
go to Rotten Tomatoes and get, if any critics are listening.
Yeah.
We know at least one of those.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But we would like to thank Scott for coming in and giving us the update on this movie
and sharing your soul and your feelings, and did way more than just share the journey of trying to make this. I think you opened up, your heart through this whole process, and I think that's why our listeners have connected to this story. So thank you for that. No,
thank you guys for everything, for all the support and for checking in on me and meeting with me and but like I said, that episode 130, is just, it's a moment in our lives that we keep going back to. It's kind of like a save point in a video game, we keep going back to that. And I just, it helps us remember all of that stuff. And it means the world to us. I mean, it really does. It's been
awesome.
It was really special. Thank you, guys.
Well, we know that you'll stay in touch. I do have the Animal Crackers graphic novel on the way to my house. Oh. And the next time we get together, I would like you to sign it, and we're going to put it in the Cinemasins studio along with our other keepsakes.
Yep.
That's
so correct. Are we going to see you guys, because you guys have to, do you have to completely tear apart this movie? Are you going to
you want us to send this movie?
I want you to send this movie.
Well, you heard it right there. So if we do it, I'm going to take that audio clip of you saying, I want you to send this movie, so that no one yells at us.
I thought you were supposed to be friends.
Yeah. It's clear how much we love you. And
do me a favor. Read the New York Times article in the critic from Ratatouille's voice, and then trust me, you guys can't send it to where it's going to hurt my feelings.
I hate that you gave away one of my outtakes, though, which was going to be the "What's in the Box" one. That immediately got into my head.
What's in the box?
Krasinski.
Yeah. Our whole Sins video will be like, look, I've talked to the director and I know that he meant to do this and everything, but come on, look at this bullshit that's happening right here. But what would be interesting is if we do ever get around to that and everything, is seeing you in the comments just battling, like not only like responding to people who love the video, but people who hate the video too, and saying, you know what, you guys are wrong about the video that hates my movie. That'll be an interesting thing.
I think they did a great job. My movie really does suck, and I'll be on your side. Don't worry.
All right. So everybody go to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. Write your comments. And you know what? I have a feeling Scott might respond on that. If you guys are going to say terrible, trashy things about the movie, I probably won't comment back to you, but he might. Hey, you never know.
I'm Roz from Monsters Inc. I'm watching you, Wazowski.
Go to Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter. We're also on Discord and we're on SoundCloud. If you want to get on Discord, you can go to our Reddit page on the right side. There's a link, or you can go to Facebook and private message me, and I'll give you a link there. But that is going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank Scott Sava for coming in once again.
Yeah.
It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Scher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Going back and listening to the last one we did with you, and I heard you talk about the Hobbit hole, and I was like, oh yeah, imagining it and everything, and there it is. There's
here, I'll rotate a little bit. There's the rest of it over there.
That's so cool.
And,
it is.
But yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's a perfect spot for creating. What are all the figurines you got over there?
I've got everything from Kiss down at the bottom.
Nice.
I've got Captain America, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, Captain Jack, Marty McFly, Batman and Robin, the Rocketeer, Superman.
The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I've got some old stuff like the original. Actually, here, I'll show you. Hold on.
You've got a Marty McFly.
That's awesome.
This is where Bullet Man came from.
Oh, sweet.
It's an old G.I. Joe
Oh, wow.
I had as a kid. And so and then I've got bunches. I got $6 Million Man and Micronauts and Shogun Warriors and a whole bunch of stuff from when I was a kid. So.
I'm not making a comparison, but I do remember in the 40-Year-Old Virgin, he did have the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It just popped out. And
I
so
thought
when you
it
watch
was-
that, it may have like...
I thought it was the $6 Million Man's boss.
Oh, that's right.
I have seen that movie too many times.
I know some dude in Mount Juliet who has like it's just an insane amount of those kind of figurines. I think he's got a whole room dedicated to collectibles and things like that, like the whole room. It's just it's an amazing collection, and that in itself back there is an amazing collection.
Yeah, well, thanks. Here's the secret of how I got them all. Because we were on with the food stamps and everything before the movie happened, and then when suddenly we went from food stamps to there's $10 million in our bank account, it took us a while to get a credit card, and we had to get a credit card so I could pay for flying out to London, and which was expensive. It was like $5,000 a pop, to do, because it was always last minute. And somehow we got an Amazon gift card or Amazon credit card. Like they approved us with, our horrible credit. And so we were getting points. And so I was, we would, because we had $10 million in the bank, we just needed it to buy it. So we would buy a ticket, pay it off. So there's $5,000, buy another ticket, pay it off. So I was getting so many points. I was buying toys with the free points. So that's where they all kind of came from.
What do you have? What do you have there? An RE20?
Yeah, like I know what I have.
It looks like it's on the front.
I don't know. I got it on Amazon.
Well, with your points.
Yeah.
I wrote everything down on Post-it so I don't forget it, and I have them in chronological order. So,
I was afraid
right.
it was just
if
that.
you guys
It was
want
like
to, I
two
can
words.
give you guys what?
I thought it was just that Post-it. It was two words.
Yeah.
really small.
I'm going to remember everything. These 2 words.
We had, I've had personally several Twitter followers ask us without knowing that you were coming on today, are you going to follow up with Scott? Because, Animal Crackers came out on Netflix. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, dude. Have you not seen like everything I've been tweeting about? And that poster is so amazing. I look at it out my door every day. It's a beautiful thing.
Speaking of the poster, well, first of all, did you other guys? Did you guys get it? Okay,
that's on me. I haven't delivered yet.
Okay. Speaking of poster, I got to speak to Drew Struzan. And if you guys don't know who Drew Struzan is, just let me know.
I don't.
I don't.
No.
Okay, Chris, look behind you.
Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
Other side, yeah. The Empire Strikes Back. He did all of those movie posters.
Oh.
He did Indiana Jones. He did The Goonies. He did everything. There's a documentary, if you guys should really watch it, on Drew Struzan.
Huh.
Okay? He is the greatest movie poster illustrator of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I got, when we got our money in 2014, he had retired. And he was the first person I called to get a movie poster. I was like, "Hi, my name is Scott. Would you please give me, And he's like, and his wife Dylan was like, "I'm sorry, he's retired." And I was like, "Oh, okay. This is what I want to do." And they said, they were just so nice. They're like, "Well, next time you're in Los Angeles, let's get together and we'll talk." And so I came out to Los Angeles and I showed him the movie and everything and what I was doing, and I showed him my artwork. And he said, "You know what?" He's like, "You're so talented. You should make a movie poster." No, not me. I don't. And so he encouraged me to do a movie poster. And so I did a video interview with him on Saturday, him and his wife. And he's like, "Scotty," goes, "I'm so happy that I didn't do your movie poster because your poster is perfect." To have him tell me that was just, I was in tears.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, if you, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
or Jeremy, this is your copy.
Oh.
We'll get to you eventually.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was huge for me. And it's funny because I was an illustration major going to school, and making a movie, directing a movie was never on my bucket list of things to do when I was growing up. So the funniest thing was when we got our money, the very first thing was, I want to, get some movie posters. I want to work with Drew Struzan. I want to work with Greg Hildebrand. I want to get some movie posters done. That was all I cared about, was the stupid movie posters.
It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah. I wanted to say, stupidly, my favorite things that you post are your sketchbook art stuff and all your art travel journals, and you have a very distinct and unique style to me, and I really, really enjoy it.
Thank you, man. It's there's a story behind that, which was I'm not delaying anything, am I? By just talking?
No, dude. No.
Oh, okay. When I travel horribly. I'm just so nervous, and I get an upset stomach, and I'm just not a good traveler. And so I would have to fly to London or LA or New York or Spain. And by the time I get there, I just want to come home. I just want to, or I'm huddled up in the hotel room, and I'm just no good to anybody. And I was in Spain, which is 20 hours. It's Nashville to Atlanta, Atlanta to Paris, Paris to Valencia. It's a long trip, and there's always a delay or a cancellation. And so I was there, and we were touring a school because we had Tony Bancroft with us. So Tony Bancroft, is a rock star in animation. So it was, Tony Bancroft is going to speak to the school. Okay, well, I'll just sit off here to the side and just wait to go home, because that's all I ever want to do. So they walked me around, and one of the classrooms was filled with kids doing, I guess they're young adults or in their 20s, but they're doing a still life class. So there's a bowl of fruit, and whatnot, and they have the big newsprint pads with the charcoals, and they're sketching. I was like, oh my God, I haven't done that since I was in college. And they said, well, would you like to do one? And they pulled up an easel and a newsprint and all the charcoals, and for an hour, I just sat there and I sketched. And for that hour, my stomach didn't bother me. I had no anxiety or anything. Everything just melted away. All that I was looking at was just the still life and what I was drawing. And I was so happy. And I think that's when I realized I need to draw. That's my happy place. And so here, I'll show you guys. I think I did this already. I think I showed you. I don't even know. I showed you guys the sketchbook, the little, it's like a military bag.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been taking that with me everywhere, and that's been just, I had so many miles that I had free miles. I took my mom to London and Paris a couple of years ago for her 80th birthday.
Oh,
and
nice.
I would sit in the Louvre or the British Museum, and I would sit and sketch, and she would walk around, and I would just sit there and I would sketch, and I was happy, and she was happy because I wasn't rushing her because she's 80, and I was just sitting there sketching,
All right, you've seen the Mona Lisa. Let's go.
Yeah. There it is. You saw it. Let's go. But it was great, and so I now that trip I was able to travel. And I think I only had to take a Xanax like maybe once or twice, and which is huge for me. And I was just much more calm and so I think that's been a really good thing for me. And so just even during the pandemic, it was really good for me to journal and write down my thoughts and what we were going through and everything, and on one page, and then sketching every day. I think there's a therapy to it.
Yeah, and I remember one day reading a tweet you posted. You were like, quarantine day 36. And then like the next day you were like, quarantine day 75. And I was like, holy hell, a whole month has gone by. I was like, the time ceased to have meaning to me, except for your sketches.
It's been Groundhog Day, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has.
It's usually my testimonial about how fucked up I am. So,
hey, I'm happy to join in if you need me.
I have firsthand experience how fucked up Barrett is.
That's correct.
Yeah. Get in the nail.
That old bastard. I shouldn't say that.